What's up, everybody? Isaac Payne here from Mom and Pop, and welcome to Small Business Conversations, where we talk to small business owners who are doing big things in their community. Today, I have a special guest who hails all the way from New Zealand. We go way back, and it'll be great to catch up. She's a fitness professional who has a few businesses on the go, so we'll have to hear all about that and what her journey in entrepreneurship has been like over the last few years. Today, we have with us Sarah Cameron. What's up, Sarah? How you doing?
Thank you. Welcome. And thanks for that lovely introduction. I am wonderfully well. Thank you.
No, awesome. Yeah, like we mentioned, we've known each other at least 15 years back from the Performance Institute in Burnaby back in the day, both fitness trainers there. And what year did you move back to New Zealand?
So I was trying to think about that, but I think it was probably about 12 years ago that I left Canada and moved back to live in New Zealand. So a while now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And you mentioned before that you've started a few new businesses. So what do you got on the go right now?
Yes, well, exciting times. I think, based on obviously the way that New Zealand has been running and also having to kind of navigate COVID and other situations, businesses have grown and adapted and changed based on lifestyle and experience. So when I came back from Canada, I opened up a small training facility and I utilized that space to kind of grow my network in Wellington, New Zealand, which is our capital, and worked with a lot of corporate organizations there, and worked with groups like the New Zealand School of Dance, the Institute of Sport, and the School of Dance and Drama, Toi Whakaari. So kind of worked with bigger organizations, and then from that, people in all ages and stages on their fitness and health journeys. Over the period of life, things change, and unexpectedly ended up having children. So it wasn't part of the mission of opening a gym to also then choose to have children. However, the greatest blessing, because it forced me to pivot. And so through that adaptation, I moved to a different part of New Zealand and kind of opened up the idea of running businesses from a different area. And then through that experience as well, kind of looked at how could I make a bigger impact and how could I reach a bigger audience. So I have my personal training, and then that's adapted into coaching. I also run an online health and wellness business, which has nutritional programs and a range of other things. So it's kind of merged and adapted so that it could fit around my biggest priority, which is my family.
Oh, wow. It's got a lot on the go. So is everything mostly home based, online based, or are you still going to a facility? What?
Yeah, well, we are very lucky here in New Zealand, obviously, where the rest of the world has had massive shutdowns. We have actually been pretty, blessed in the sense that we've had one major lockdown, and then the rest of it we've just been on a kind of reduced capacity, and so we have actually been in the gym setting. So I actually work out of a few different facilities and people's homes. I like that face to face, belly to belly type training as well. I feel like the online is incredible, but you miss a bit of that human connection. So I do still work out of a local gym, which is here in New Zealand, obviously, for anyone that's in New Zealand. So it's called Rampage. And then I've started doing some consultancy for a gym called Flex, which is based in a range of different locations in New Zealand.
Oh,
So
okay. Nice. And then you mentioned like nutrition stuff. Is that also you do some nutrition coaching as well?
yeah. So when my second daughter, so I've got two kids, a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, and when my daughter was first born, I was looking for a different way to do things. I realized that as much as I was really passionate about other people's health and wellness, mine massively suffered. So I was burnt out. I was working at crazy, silly hours to try and manage looking after kids at the same time. And I was just not living the vibrant, healthy life that I wanted. And so I had this incredible business opportunity that was presented when my daughter was merely a few weeks old. And I looked at it as a way of, well, if I could utilize this to support my clients while I'm off on maternity leave or and it really grew from there. So something that started as a tool, I guess, to help and support my clients grew into probably my biggest part of my business now. So we have this program called the 30 Days to Healthy Living, and it's about being able to help people change for long-term health. So establish habits over a period of 30 days that kind of implement the changes that we want to make, that therefore will see them through into, long-term health. So I noticed that coupling those two things together was massive in people's mindset and, the results that they got. So it's been a game changer for me. Yeah.
Oh, interesting, interesting. And that's a program that you created?
No, so it's actually a program through an organization called Arbonne, which is out of Irvine, California, and it's in 7 different countries. So I actually have clients that are in Canada and the US and the States and UK and here. And so it's really, it's kind of grown, I guess, the influence that I was able to have rather than me just working with my small little bubble of clients that I knew I was having a really great impact on, instead of being able to kind of expand that reach. And because we can do, trainings like this online, I'm able to connect with them and make sure that they're implementing the changes and support them on that journey. So I've realized that, my true passion, I guess, is definitely in that coaching aspect rather than necessarily being the physical aspect or the nutritional. It's about that whole package, and the products that I found through Arbonne and the program that they initiated really fit into my philosophy. So yeah.
Okay, interesting. So it's kind of like a network marketing.
Yeah, correct. So a social marketing company.
Okay.
And through that, we've been able to adapt it too. So I have a lot of health professionals that, are part of my organization and have created their own businesses here in New Zealand as well, that are also in the same field. So we have doctors and osteopaths and, a whole range of different therapists. And so therefore, as a way, they're able to kind of build that, again, residual income outside of their passion project, I guess. So it's kind of, I guess, supporting us in times like COVID, where my personal training dropped overnight and this was still going. So it was kind of a great opportunity to be able to share that with other people.
Okay. Now, did you find it hard to get your Arbonne business off the ground? Was it tough in the beginning?
Hell yes, absolutely. I think with any business, right? So at that early stage for me, that beginning, like starting, I didn't realize. I guess I didn't, because a social marketing company or network marketing company is set up in the way that it is. It wasn't like when I set up the gym and I had this massive giant investment that I was making. Instead, I didn't put the importance in it being a business in the same way. So therefore I didn't work it like it was a business. So I think I struggled with that, to be fair, in the beginning, where I didn't put the work in that was necessary in order to see the growth. And I had a newborn baby, to be fair. I was definitely in a different mental state at that point. I've had to go through the steps and stages. So, getting rid of ego and what I thought I was born to do, and all of these other things, like kind of peeling off the layers of what you expect, or how things are going to work, or even the revenue potential in different industries. I think, like any business, there's highs and there are lows. And I think, my Arbonne business was exactly the same.
Oh, very interesting. I mean, you hear all kinds of different things about those types of businesses. So I just wondered what drew you to it and what made you stick with it. So
Totally. Okay, so that's a very, very good question. I was the perfect candidate for a person that said no before I had actually looked at it. So I was like, isn't that one of those pyramid things? Like one person makes money and everyone else does the work. So I had a lot of preconceived ideas, and a lot of those, I realized the more information I understood about it, were completely unjust. The benefit, I guess, in being somebody who enjoys research, is I looked into exactly what it was, what exactly the products were. Do I align myself with the type of products, the philosophy of the company? Do I believe in what the company stands for? And therefore, is that something that I'm willing to put my reputation and my knowledge on the line for? Does that make sense? So for me, I did a lot of due diligence. my background and my family's background. So my dad is a naturopath. So with my baby brain at those early stages, I said, Dad, please fine tooth comb these products and just make sure. I want to know that I know that I know that if I'm recommending this, that I'm backing something that's going to be good. So I kind of had that secondary endorsement, which really worked for me. The model itself has proven so many things that I wasn't expecting. So in those early stages, I actually got really bad postnatal depression with my daughter, and it blindsided me. So as you know, Isaac, I'm a pretty positive type person, generally speaking. And so I just didn't know what was happening, to be honest. It was so out of character for me. And it was something I didn't feel like I had any control over. And with the way that oftentimes these type of companies are set up, there's this incredible amount of training and inspiration and other tools and techniques that you're taught. So I learned about things like Miracle Morning and about reading books that were going to nourish my mind. And like I just kind of, all of a sudden, it was like piece by piece, listening to these inspiring stories of other people who were lifting others up and were making an impact and were doing great things with the wealth that they generated. And I saw these things, and it helped to realize that I was more than just the situation I was currently in. So yeah, it kind of proved to be so much more than, I guess, an initial business that I saw it as.
Mhm. So it just took you in a completely different direction than you had planned.
Correct. And I think it's continued to do that. Like, it's really opened my eyes. You can't unknow that information, right? Like, once you learn something, I think it grows you as a person, not just in business, but, it grows you as a person. And therefore, the way that you look at life, the way that you approach a client, the way that all of those things, continue to ripple off into every aspect of your life. At the moment, I think through that learning that I learned from Arbonne and that self-development growth journey that I started with, I've actually stepped into a learning module at the moment called the Hero's Journey. And I'm just blown away by the knowledge that I'm learning. And it's a year-long program. And I'm just like inundated with, joy and inspiration and practical application. And it's, yeah, highly recommend if anyone is looking for a growth adventure. The Hero's Journey from Darren Hardy is epic.
Okay. That's the guy who wrote the Compound Effect, right?
That is right. Correct. Oh, you know your stuff. Yeah.
um, so yeah, okay. So in terms of you used to when you first moved to New Zealand, you worked for a gym and then you decided to open your own gym. So you made that leap. What prompted you to decide to go into business for yourself?
Yeah, I think I had a lot of great guides. So, as you know, Heather and Steve out at the Performance Institute, they proved as such an incredible example of people who were, making it happen. People who, were so passionate and driven by what they could do, that it really inspired me to do that myself. So, in first moving back to New Zealand, I, worked at a big gym, and I got way too busy way too soon, and I kind of didn't know how to handle that. But I also didn't like the restrictions that were placed by them making a new decision on my business. So therefore I was at the subject of whatever changes they wanted to make. And I guess, for anyone that's an entrepreneur, which I can imagine a lot of your listeners are, that idea of knowing that, when you are really truly passionate about something and you want to make a change or you want to do something, you want to know that you can adapt and change and grow and in your business and make those decisions that you think are really important without somebody else dictating it for you. So I guess that was my transition into owning a gym. I also had my best friend was also at the same gym as I was, and she had very similar views on wanting to do something for herself and knowing what a great impact we were already having within the community, and we wanted to just be able to expand that and grow that without any limitations. So again, we had that support of each other to be able to dive into something completely not knowing what we were doing. Like, it was absolutely a jump and then work stuff out process that we went through, some in which I wouldn't do again and some which I absolutely would. So it taught me a lot. So yeah.
Oh, good. I mean, I'm the same way. After I left PI, it was the same thing. I just dove in and started running my own gym and learned everything on the fly. You know a lot, but you don't know a lot, right? And it's the easiest way and the fastest way to learn is to dive in. I try to tell people that all the time. It's like you're never going to know everything. So whatever you don't know, you're going to learn along the way, but you got to just take that first step. So it's that's just the way it goes. So
And
it's
I think that
interesting.
that can be applied to everything, can't it? Like no matter what business you're in, no matter what new adventure you're looking for, whether it's a skill that you want to learn, you're going to suck before you have success. Like it's that
Yeah.
idea of having to, kind of like, yeah, grit your teeth and then build the skills in order to build the confidence in order for it to grow. So yeah.
No, it's awesome. That's great. Now, yeah, with a lot of the people you've been in the industry a long time. What do you think is what holds people back the most from getting the results they want? What have you found in working with people, especially in that 30-day period?
Mm,
The people that
yeah.
kill it at the end of 30 days and people that are just stuck. What do you find are the biggest obstacles they have?
That is a great question. And I think most of it comes from up here. And as much as I probably didn't put enough importance in my early parts of my career, enough importance on the mental aspect of training. I worked on the physical body, and as long as they were doing, and I could kind of motivate them, I guess, to do it. But what I realized across both the training side and also into the nutrition, and then also coaching in my business, the biggest thing is to work out what their drivers are, what their deep-seated, like important things that are on their heart, or working out that part, and also looking at some of those potential negative patterns that they've created for themselves. So I guess stripping back some of the history and really looking at what that patterning had been previously in order to get a different result in the future. So I do a lot more on mindset now than I ever used to, both in my physical training, definitely in the nutrition, and absolutely without a doubt in the business side. So
Mm.
um,
Now, when you say
I think it
mindset,
all comes down to that aspect.
what, okay, so with mindset, I'm digging a little deeper here.
Yeah.
what what is wrong with their mindset? Like, what is it that they're thinking or not thinking that they should be?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it's what necessarily is wrong with it, but I think it's about um, particular beliefs that they hold, either about themselves or about the habits. And I think until you're able to identify those, it's very hard to change them. So, as an example, if somebody has always said about themselves, I'll use myself as an example. So, back in the past, I used to say I could not eat chocolate if it was in the house, right? Like this was a thing that I knew about myself, and I would say it like, there is chocolate in the house, I'm going to eat it. And I'm not just going to eat one piece, I'm going to eat it all, right? And this was a pattern that I created over and over again. And my mind would say it, and my body would carry out that action, despite what kind of plan I was on or whatever. It was just too hard to resist. And so I think it was identifying that was a story that no longer served me. And actually, there wasn't truth in it. It was something that I had created and imprinted over and over again. So it was on identifying those particular things and then creating a new story, creating the life that you want, creating the habit that you want, and then starting small. So putting one foot forward in order to create it, and then doing that consistently over time to achieve a different result. And I think that's been a big part both in my own personal journey and also in seeing across the board success in other people. Um, yeah, for whatever goals they have.
Yeah, it's almost it's an entity in itself. Like, never mind the exercise and the nutrition. It's like, let's just spend 30 days reprogramming your mind before we even do our first workout. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. A
yeah,
100%. And I think the deeper you go into the power of that, the more you want to learn about it, because it's fascinating what a massive instrument that we have that we actually don't utilize. And we kind of go through life, living by our automatic habits rather than actually creating it. So I actually, through the kind of that learning myself, I actually did another course which is called multiple brain integration training. So talking about head brain, heart brain, gut brain, and the connection between those three. And so utilizing some of those skills in across the board and all of those different disciplines, I find really effective for implementing true lasting change, because it comes from the person themselves, not from me telling them what to do or trying to put a system in place. It's about them actually creating it for themselves.
Oh, it's very, very fascinating. It's deep stuff. And I think the average person probably underestimates their thoughts and how they control everything and lead to the actions and therefore the results that they get, right? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's very fascinating. It's something that I've studied a lot over the years myself too, working on myself, still a work in progress, but
Always.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is very, very intriguing because people don't realize what their true potential is until they can really unlock it, right? So it is quite a fascinating. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, the joy in what I get to do and what you get to do in both your past and also in this new business, I think it's about, identifying that in other people and helping them to realize it in themselves. So even if we can, because it is, again, a lot of people don't know what they don't know. And even if we can just start that flicker, I guess, of belief in themselves and belief that they have the potential to do it, I think that creates more worth than a workout does,
No,
or a singular. It doesn't matter how well written that program is, it doesn't actually matter unless they're actually going to implement the changes and believe it for themselves. Then that will have a much greater impact.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, as how has COVID been on all your businesses and everything? Like, how is it? How has it been affected? Good, bad? What's been the overall impact?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are very blessed. Obviously, we've got an incredible leader of our country who has made some monumental, quick decisions in shutting things down really, really fast. So right at the beginning, back, over a year ago now, when we first kind of heard that our borders shut down, we went into full lockdown for 5 weeks across the country, and I think that was monumental in kind of slowing the pace in which or again, the longevity in which we experienced COVID affecting us. Um, so yeah, I actually chose to lock down. My parents have a farm in the middle of nowhere, and so as a family, we decided to lock down there, because both my husband and I knew that we were going to be working. We were going to have to homeschool the kids. We were going to have to. So we wanted to have as much support as we could in that bubble that we were in. So in a quick decision, we decided to get to the farm and lock down there. So the joy, I guess, in having that experience was, one, you realized what was important. You really, I think for me personally, I really kind of scaled things back and realized the importance of family and of connection and of, rather than chasing that big goal, instead, it kind of brought it back to the real true importance of good health. And then at the same time, it created like it absolutely, my PT business overnight was gone, right? Like it just that was it. The gym was closed and that was it. And so because before I had a much larger client base in the gym, I realized that wasn't going to be a long-term sustainable only option. It's still something I love to do and I think it's really important, but yeah, it just needed a shift. So I transitioned online for those key clients. Obviously that wasn't everyone, and I knew that I couldn't keep up the capacity of doing that, and I didn't have the enjoyment in running online sessions in the same way. But it was a way to keep their mental health in check, my mental health in check, and to have a fun environment where we still felt like we had that community. So that definitely shifted that part. My Arbelin business definitely grew. So I realized the importance of, having a business. Again, we were very lucky in the fact that we were still considered an essential business because we had nutritional supplements. And so it meant that our business was still shipping in New Zealand and in a lot of the world. So that actually grew. I think also people were less distracted by other things. And so they were able to give time to looking at an opportunity, looking at, what they wanted to do next. And so I had a lot of people also transition into my business at that stage as well on the business side. And I think also people were really worried that they were going to be sitting at home watching Netflix, eating the wrong food. So the 30-day program and a new program which we created, which was called the Breakfast Club, that then became just a way that they could look after themselves, that they could, kind of do something good for themselves, even if life was kind of totally different and out of the regular routine. So, yeah, it changed in that aspect. I think the biggest thing it also taught me is that I have exceptional resilience, and that I know that no matter what things that come up, that there is always an opportunity if you're willing to look for it. And so that kind of again propelled me into looking at where are the businesses that need that support? How can I support them, and how can I best serve in the community? So
Oh,
yeah.
that's great. It's great. I mean, yeah, if anything, this pandemic has taught us what's most important, and how to shift and how to really evolve so we can thrive under any conditions. At least for those of us that are resilient and have that mindset. If you see the opportunity versus the obstacle, then it's an opportunity to grow and be that much better as a result of it versus just complaining and whining and getting depressed about the whole situation, right? So it's depends on your outlook.
I think it is also, it's taught me a lot of gratitude too, because I realized that, my story is very different from a lot of people's story too. And, I mean, as you found, you've made a decision around shutting down your business because I didn't have that bricks and mortar business. I didn't have to make that call whether I wanted to or not. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I know my story is very different from a lot of people who, who will not survive business wise this pandemic. And my heart goes out to them. And I really, so although I speak with such a like a positive spin on a horrible situation, however I know that this has also been a massive tragedy for so much of the world, and people in New Zealand, both on the health front and also for their businesses. So it's not said with yeah, it's
That's
said
it
with
in pain.
love, if that makes sense.
No, I get it. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, and it's great to acknowledge that. What are your long-term plans for your current business now, 3 to 5 years? What are you thinking?
Well, interestingly, my plan had been prior to the COVID situation is that we were going to come, like, start to really build the business, the Arbonne business in particular in Canada, and to actually move back so that my kids could experience, because I'm Canadian, and my family is, a lot of my family is still back there. My kids don't know that culture, and so for me, it's such an important thing to be able to take them back there and actually experience that while they're young and while they can. And so the idea had been to go to Canada, kind of set up and establish and be able to help to grow that business over there, whilst my New Zealand one was continuing. So that's obviously the plan has shifted a little bit from that one. So now we're actually in the process at the moment. We're renovating a new home that we've bought, and we're kind of just using it as a chance for us to really get clear on where we want to go and what we want to do. I think my Arbonne business is absolutely what I see running long term. The personal training side and will probably slow down over the next couple of years, to be fair. I think that will start to, wind down to a degree. And it gives me an opportunity to, get back into the enjoyment of exercise myself, with, that trade of time. I do really love the problem solving in bigger gym situations. And again, finding a way to service the community. So right now we're doing these corporate wellness programs. Mental health is obviously a massive, massive area that I'm seeing across the board, that there's a need to be able to support people. So, utilizing the incredible skills of other practitioners in mindfulness, meditation, breath work, nutrition, across the board, finding ways to be able to support organizations to help their staff, I think will end up being a much bigger part of my business too. Yeah,
Oh, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's ambitious and it's got to be ambitious, got to think big. So
totally.
do you, is your preference to be in Canada? Like, what's the,
So that's a good question. I mean, I would have said prior to all of this stuff happening that absolutely I wanted to get back there to be able to at least have my kids experience that for a good period of time. However, I mean, New Zealand is a really cool place, and we are blessed to have this little island that we live on, and beaches that are 5 minutes away, ski mountains that are 5 minutes. Like we have. I mean, BC has that too, but there's. So I'm not sure. It's definitely shifted a little bit. And whether that's through a little bit of fear, again, just knowing how, safe and protected we are in our little bubble down here. There's a little bit of that makes me go, actually, let's just make a bigger impact here. Um,
right.
so watch the space, I think, on that one.
Now your business, it's remote. So could you not build it in Canada from New Zealand theoretically?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think both of those businesses, both the idea of building a system to support businesses in their mental health, and absolutely the Arbonne business. The Arbonne is great because the infrastructure is already in place. It's just a matter of finding, I guess, knowing and understanding and building relationships over there, that therefore I can, be able to support people. I think that's probably the area that I could grow quicker. And then the other one may go hand in hand, right? Like I think sometimes you meet the right type of people who have the same vision and mindset as you do, and it's very easy for things to kind of flow and work together. So I do believe that will definitely be a big focus point for me, is to grow that and then still be growing this here in New Zealand, despite whether I'm physically over there or not.
Okay. No, fair enough. So if you could pick three lessons that you've learned since becoming an entrepreneur, what would you say the three biggest take home lessons over the
Yeah.
years? Three major things you've learned.
Um, don't fear failure. Failure is only a step to success. I think that would be probably my number one. Is that there are going to be road, and in order to have those allows you to learn from them and grow from them. Number two, I think that one kind of tops the rest of them. I think good people, having the right people around you, makes a massive massive impact on who you are, how you show up, and how you kind of raise your game. So be very careful of the influences around you. um, and then number three, if you've got a burning desire and a passion, go for it. Go for it, no matter what. Like dig in, get it done, and you will feel and create incredible things. You are, more powerful than you ever realize. And so, if you've got something inside you that business that's been on the back burner, that thing that you had inside your heart, just absolutely go for it, despite whether you've got other people thinking it's a great idea or not. Um,
No, those are all great, and I've asked that question a few times, and it's similar answers. It's fascinating. One of the biggest things everyone always says that all business owners keep saying is take action, just do it. Because I think the fear of failure is what holds a lot of people back, and that's what separates the good from the great, so to speak.
yeah,
And you can't say it enough times. It's like you just got to take action and
totally.
know that
Do the
failure is
thing.
part of the
Yeah.
process. Yeah, yeah,
Do the thing and have the power.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
an
think it
interesting
just
thing.
has to be that motto. I totally agree, and I can imagine no matter what business, no matter what, you'll get that same line of going through it. That action, beats perfection all day long. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just very interesting that all business owners, or a vast majority, make that same comment. So yeah, there's a common ground there for sure. So where
yeah.
can everyone find your businesses or you on social
Yes.
media or websites? Where
So
can they find you?
I used to run under a business name, and I've got back to actually I am my business. At the end of the day, people connect with people, and so I go under Sarah Cameron on both Facebook and Instagram. I'm Coach Cameron in terms of how people I'll often sign off on things, and so yeah, I can be found Sarah Cameron on Instagram, obviously New Zealander. And yeah, and same thing on Instagram. So we can always pop a link up for those handles, and I'd be more than happy to speak to anyone or talk to you if you are wanting to make a change in your life, and whether that's through health or fitness or again a new opportunity. Feel free to connect, and we can see if it's a fit for you.
No, awesome, Sarah. I am not at all shocked at where you've ended up and what you're doing. You've always been a ray of sunshine, forever positive and always optimistic. And yeah, you're doing your thing, and I'm proud of you, and I'm happy that you're having all this success. It's great.
Thank you. And I so appreciate you, Isaac. Honestly, it's wonderful to reconnect with you. And again, hear this new exciting journey that you are on. I know that you're going to make a huge impact for so many small businesses to get found in the marketplace. And I just think it's so incredible that you've taken something like the pandemic and that thing that was on your heart, and run with it. So I wish both you and your wife all the success in the world, and really taking this. I can't wait to see the app and see what it's all about.
No, thank you. I appreciate it again. Thanks for all your time, Sarah, and we'll talk soon.
Perfect. Sounds wonderful. Thanks, Isaac.
All right, take care.
Take care.